On today's episode, I am joined by Kenny Joseph, the founder and VP of Step Ahead, a cybersecurity compliance firm with a powerful mission to protect small business operations in high-stakes environment, especially those navigating Department of Defense regulations. On this episode, we talk about why Kenny, despite being a founder, deliberately chose the VP title to stay connected with both his team and clients and to lead from the center. We also talked about how Step Ahead is simplifying CMMC compliance through security enclave infrastructure, giving even the smallest businesses enterprise level protection. And here's the kicker. If you're a business owner trying to break into federal contracting or just to level up your cybersecurity game, Kenny shares how these emerging frameworks can not only keep you compliant, but also set you apart in the marketplace. Let's dive in. Hey, Kenny, welcome to the show. Do you mind introducing yourself?
Yeah, I'm Robert Kenny Joseph. I'm founder and vice president of Step Ahead, and I'm in the cybersecurity space and compliance.
Okay, so let's back up a second. You're the founder, but also you took a VP title. Why is that?
The reason behind it is, I wanted to. It's a women-owned organization, so as per the DoD norms and SBA norms, they got to be the women as head of the organization. And not only that, I wanted to kind of be more of a team player, rather not exactly a team player, but more of a go-to person within my organization who can reach out to both the the highest person in charge as well as the lower person below me, so that I could bring together the entire organization. That's the main thing. I kind of wanted to be a go-to person for everybody within my organization as well as outside of it.
I think that makes sense. It's interesting, right? Like you don't necessarily see a lot of founders or co-founders who don't have like a C level or president level or type of title. So it's just different. And that's cool. I understand the reasoning behind being able to be the step between everybody in the organization and still be able to work within and outside of your organization without having to be the head person.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, I really don't, more than the titles, I'd like to be the person everybody could reach me on to. And I want to be, for the customer, I want to be the point of contact that can solve their problems and help them do better at their work. Within my organization, I want to be the point person who can help each and everybody what they are supposed to do. Not only that, I'm also on put myself into a learner's state. So I always keep learning from everybody all the time, all around me. So it kind of fits me into that's the reason I really do not want to be the topmost official in my organization deliberately. I want to be somewhere in the middle, reachable by everybody.
Totally makes sense. You had mentioned that you work in compliance in the IT space, especially when it comes to government contracting, correct?
Yeah.
What in your background led you to that?
Yes, see, I have been in the space, in the technology space for over 30 years. And prior to that, I started my career in the bank and as a clerk. And then I found my way into technology. And it was a very tough rise for me. It was not easy because I had so many obstacles I have in front of me, and I did not even have a proper degree when I started my career. So all I had was a big passion and a commitment to excel in life. So even when I came into this country, it all started with, okay, I did not even have the basic engineering degree or anything like that. So they were not really willing to give me a job or anything. I had to prove myself by building something on the technology side with a product that was relevant at that point in time and prove that I'm able to do something. And that is what brought me here into this country. And after that, my whole the way of working and coming up in life was all had to do with bringing value to the people. Whatever, even if I'm using a technology, I want to make it sure that it's simple, easy, and elegant to use. What ways I could do it to make that happen, whether it is an enterprise application, the business analytics, whatever it is, it's ease of use and simplicity. So that is what kind of got me into this space. And when I kind of got exposed more and more into security and cybersecurity, I realized that's the single most important component for any person and organization to even exist today. So I became then when the CMMC initiative started in 2019, got into it, and then immediately I kind of figured out that was something unique. But the whole CMC was built on a regulation of in the federal space, and that was pretty tough for me. It was everything was new, so I had to learn this whole process. It took me years to do that, and finally I realized this is the most important thing that I need to really get onto, because it's not only me trying to build something and make money, but also help organizations to survive, to be competitive, and also help them grow in their space. So I thought this is a fantastic thing for me to do, and that's what is motivating me every day to help other small businesses and other individuals find their new path in life.
It's funny. I think that there's so many organizations that start off simple, right? Building
Yes.
something to help other organizations thrive and survive. It's and then typically they kind of there's some point in time where it goes in a different direction and it becomes about something else. So how do you kind of stay grounded as an organization in that space to continue to prioritize helping other organizations build themselves up and thrive and survive?
See, one of the most critical factors for any small business, whether you are a retail organization in the internet or if you are a services organization, the most important thing that every organization does is they want to retain their customers and grow their customer base. And how they do that is by delivering intrinsic value to the customer, like a value that is uh, that is unique to them. So how do organizations can create uniqueness of whatever services and value that they do? For me, what I realized was security is one area where everybody can take part of it, because that's, I mean, any organization you need to have a security in place. Build a solution that anybody can use and leverage that to really showcase their own capability, because every organization, every customer is dealing with somebody else's data. Somebody else, they have if you're selling something, you have a customer data that's coming in. If you're doing some services, again, you have customer data related to that services. Now, one of the most important things is how do you protect that information? So the ability to prove for a small business, even if you're a one-person organization, to prove that you have all the bells and whistles of a large organization in providing the same level of security, that can take that organization to places. So just focus on whatever you do, you have to do it right and do it well. And the ability to do that is what I, am trying to do that very effectively in terms of taking a controls based security approach for all of the solutions that they are delivering today.
So let's take a step back. Can you kind of give me and the audience kind of a 15,000-foot overview of Step Ahead, kind of what it is you do, who it is that you're servicing, and kind of like that long-term trajectory of the organization? Where is it in 5 years? Are you still servicing those same customers, or are you looking ahead to the next big thing?
See, one of the interesting things I kind of wanted to talk to you about is the new regulation that the Department of Defense is enacting right now, and it is called Cybersecurity Maturity Management Certification. It's called CMMC. It's been in the works for past six years, And I've been along with it since the time it started. And now the reason behind this whole initiative started way back in somewhere around 2003 or so, when they discovered that a lot of intellectual property related to defense, productions in terms of aircraft designs and military equipment designs and things like that were getting stolen by nation state actors. So they came out with a set of regulations at that time. They call it as FAR 52 to 21, where they say, hey, you need to make sure you have basic security controls in place if you're dealing with the federal contract. So that is how they all started. So when they started that way, then the government said everybody who were getting these projects through the federal government, they said, oh, we are all following it, but still the cracks were there and the information was getting stolen. And one of the classic example is the F-35 aircraft, which is one of the most advanced fighting machines. The entire blueprint was stolen by China, and they built their own J-31 or something like that, which is identical to what we have. So things like that started happening. So that is why this regulation started coming into play. And I took this entire set of things and I figured out at that point in time itself, this is something that every company needs. And how they're going to get to do it is going to be the most important thing. Because once you're securing a system, what they are telling us in the regulation is every little interaction needs to be secure. Right from the time you receive the information, right from the time you consume it and you deliver it. And that calls in for 110 security controls that needs to be in place. It's a pretty massive effort for any organization to have it. So that is when I realized that an enclave is the most viable thing to do. And I started designing and innovating an enclave that is totally comprehensive and self-contained so that any small business can go to that enclave, transact their business securely, and go through the certification process and get it done very effectively. In fact, one of the recent reports that I read from DoD, they have exactly done what I had built in quite recently, and we have it on AWS Marketplace. It's just exactly what they have built, and they are saying the enclave solutions provided by cloud service providers are the most viable option that people can use because it is cheap, cost effective. So that is the enclave is it's a secure perimeter of defense. Okay, and once you're inside that secure perimeter, you're totally protected. So uh, that's kind of security is what every business needs. So even a small business, they cannot afford a lot of cybersecurity tools and resources. So what they can ultimately do is they can just get onto this enclave where everything is fully managed. 90% of the controls can be inherited from us, and all they need to do is just get the enclave, move the assets, and start using it, and we are fully protected and on they are compliant with all the reports that we generate for them. So that's the easy thing. That's the thing that we are providing to the customers. So as of now, a lot of people are interested in this, and we see ourselves, within next few years, either getting acquired or merged with a larger company, because this is exactly what everybody wanted. With a larger firm with us, we will be able to expand even further with the incorporation of AI and other things that we have already started incorporating into it.
So is that the end goal then, is to ultimately consider an acquisition or see an influx of funding capital to come into the organization to watch it expand and leverage some of these newer technologies like AI and automation to help?
What my goal is, it's just not ending up with an acquisition or anything like that. My vision for the whole thing is every organization on the internet who are conducting business need to be in an enclave kind of a solution. So cloud is a default option for everybody. Everybody is on the cloud. It has now, nobody is doing business on premise anymore. Everything is in the cloud. Now cloud is not safe, so you got to protect it. So you can think about using VPC and other things that the cloud service providers provide, but then they are not fine tuned to every business. Everybody sharing the security of others. So what we have built is everything is fine tuned to the specific customer, just like the physical location. So I think the growth of these kind of enclaves are going to be the next big thing for companies operating in the digital platform. They can no longer operate straight away without secure perimeter because AI-driven cyber attacks are on the rise. It's very difficult to identify them. So unless you have very sophisticated tooling and capabilities, it's going to become a nightmare for many people, many organizations. So that is the space that I'm looking at. So whether we get acquired or not, but this is where I want to push this whole concept that everybody got to start using or building enclaves, and enclaves can connect to other enclaves. We can make sure that everybody owning the enclaves are totally secure.
So, what's the biggest challenge your organization faces in the next year, and what steps have you taken to kind of overcome that in the meantime?
In terms of technology, we have done phenomenal advancements in what we have built and done. But the biggest challenge we are facing is in getting across through the finish line and getting the customers to engage in our products and our solutions. Because as of now, we are unknown in the market. But our concept, our innovation is very unique. But taking it across is a challenge for us, and that is where we are looking for help and means in which we could showcase this in a much bigger way. We are also authorized trainers for CMMC, and we have also done our training in a very innovative way using our own e-learning. We built our own LMS platform and delivering the content very uniquely. One of the highlights of how we deliver our e-learning is we are not using AI to generate any of the e-learning content. Everything is, our instructors are behind every module that the user uses, and we are using so many creative ways in which to help people to build their competence in the technology and the platform and in the framework as such.
So there's two things in there that I want to address, and I think I'm going to tackle them backwards. So you had mentioned that you're not using AI when it comes to your training platform. Do you think that AI in itself is kind of used as a crutch, or are you seeing more and more organizations kind of disconnect from other organizations who are using like an AI driven training module because it is so impersonal?
AI is, I would like to, AI is something I am very cautious about. Well, it certainly helps a lot of people in so many different ways. As consumers of AI, we have got to be very cautious about it. Think about it. I mean, if you're going to be just using AI for everything, in a short period of time, we human beings are going to lose the ability to think. We will not be thinking anymore. The AI is going to do, even if, let's say, if your wife wants you to get a sandwich or you get back home from work, you got to consult AI to do that. AI is going to tell you where to buy, what to do, and then it's going to tell you what ingredients are there. So your whole mind is gone. So this is the biggest scare. So that is why we want to use it cautiously, because man should be able to think. As a man thinketh, so is he, said James Allen. That is so true. If we are losing our ability to think, then we are only driven by what others tell you to do. And that is why there's so much, the riots are out. So many different, unwanted things are happening in this world because people are no longer thinking. They are told to do something. So that is why AI, I'm very cautious about AI. Its use, I just want to use it limited to what I can do and what I can do a little better, but I don't want to push it through for every little thing. Then it becomes, there is a thin red line that we should not cross. And I believe all the big technologists are of the same opinion, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think as a technologist myself, like engaging with other people in IT, I would say that I would agree that there is a time and a place for using AI. It has to be a human-led tool as well as a human-audited tool.
Yeah.
So there's this sandwich approach that kind of happens all the time. you dictate the input as well as the
Yeah.
output, right?
Yeah.
But you allow the machine itself to help with some of the thinking in between.
Yeah.
So it could take tasks that are typically human done, like say simple web analytics. It could cut down the amount of time that it does that significantly than more cheaply than hiring an analyst to do it for you.
Yeah.
So there's definitely in a time when using AI makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. See, in this federal business, a lot of documentation we deal with, a lot of regulations. So AI is very, very helpful in that space. I can give it a keyword, I can tell what to find out. It can go into a 1,000-page document and pull out and summarize and tell me what I need to do. That is humanly impossible for me to do it on my own. I can accelerate myself doing all that. So those areas certainly we have to use. That's just why we got to be careful how we use it, how we make it easier for us. We should not totally rely on it. That's the basic thing. So that is why we are using it cautiously to help people do better in our training. We are using AI. We have AI coaches that kind of helps. We have AI coaches that tells us, monitors the users of our enclave and tell them how vulnerable they are, what training they should do, how they should do better at it. They should not, because there are a lot, because our email is secure. How do you secure the emails? So we have an agent that kind of watches all around and tells you how to perform. So those kind of things we do use AI.
I mean, and that kind of goes back to the analytics piece, right? It
Yeah.
makes sense for a human to be able to ingest that much information and then be able to make it
Yeah.
an actionable report would take them weeks. And by that time, you've missed your window of opportunity.
Exactly.
Whereas AI can do that relatively quickly and allows you near real time actionability on something that may be something that does need to be actioned on right now.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That is true.
So there was one other thing that you had mentioned as far as a challenge in the organization, and you had mentioned customer engagement, knowledge of the business, and kind of looking for help here. Like what have you tried to be able to get more awareness other than opportunities like this of the organization and making sure that people understand the platform, how to use it, what it is that you guys are doing in the marketplace, and how you're different?
See, one of the things that I'm quite aware and I also accept is the general perception of the people. Let's say, I have my own target customers and I target leads and entities for my for the enclave as well as for the training. There is a general perception in the minds of everybody, and they always go with well-known, well-branded kind of a thing, and then they also go by what is recommended and what they go to social media and find things out. So that is how the general thinking pattern of people are. Now, for us, when unknown people or unknown entities needs to break through that cycle, we got to be something very different. We got to be very creative. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to do something very unique and something very different. I try to put out a lot of videos that are very different and unique, not necessarily talking about the benefits of working with us, but more in terms of the benefits of adopting the platform, the CMMC framework for any organization. Also, we are moving away. We are not just telling people, hey, if you are in the defense, you got to use it. No, you got to use it if you're in the defense space, but even if you're in the commercial space, you got to use it because it helps you and it elevates you, because cybersecurity is something common. It's not something specific to defense. Information is information. The information that your organization has is sensitive in nature. The information that the defense has is sensitive information in nature to the defense. So information is information. You need to protect that no matter what, and we can allow, and you can do it the same way you protect the most sensitive from the government. So that is the stories that we say, and people are receiving those stories that we tell them and are getting back to us. So I think it's again there's also the timing of the regulation that's still not passed yet by the government. So people are kind of also waiting on it to figure out what is really going to happen, because this is an expensive proposition for any small business. So DoD is kind of estimating between around 100K per organization, a small organization, to get certified in CMMC. And that's a big money for any organization. And also, one of the things that the Congress is right now doing is trying to see if the expenses that the small business incurs on the CMMC certification can be offset by tax credits. So those are the things that people are kind of waiting on before they could spend. So once that happens, I think people have to come out. They got to engage us. They're willing. I mean, we wanted to extend our capability not just to small business, to every individual. If you look at it, it's a new career opportunity for people. This is a beautiful thing. It's a 1 billion market just opening up. Anybody can seize it. And definitely there's a room for every player in space.
Kenny, you've been a great guest so far. So at the end of each one of all of my podcast episodes, I give my guests 90 seconds to plug anything that they're passionate about. So that could be your company, that could be getting certified, that could be anything. So without further ado, the next 90 seconds are yours.
Yeah, that it's been wonderful, and I really enjoyed your podcast. And one of the things that I would like to carry along and pass it through the audience that are listening is, it doesn't matter how old are you or how young are you, how qualified are you or not. You should have a dream and you should have a passion in life to go after. So I've chosen cybersecurity as a passion, but that doesn't end. But I'm also interested in other things that keeps me alive. I love railroad modeling. That's something very different from what I'm doing in terms of cybersecurity, but it gives me a lot of creative ideas, a lot of creativity comes into play. So I would encourage everybody to never give up. There's no such thing as not being able to do anything right or not being successful. You can always be successful as long as you do not give up. And nobody should tell you what you can do or what you cannot do. It is only you know it at the bottom of your heart what you can do. So follow your heart, work hard, and certainly we'll make it through, no matter what the obstacles are.
Love that. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. Thanks, Brian.